Oh, sorry, George. I thought you said you were doing the intro.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Intro then.
I meant the animation
purposes. It's totally cool. We would just be sitting here in awkward silence for like the next 30 seconds. Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy. We are back with another watch along. And as you can see from the graphic, I mean, when I first clicked on it, I thought we were doing Frozen for a second. No, we are doing Batman and Robin, the 1997 superhero movie, comic book movie. I mean, everything that can be said about this movie has pretty much already been said all over the internet since the film pretty much came out. We wanted to do something a bit different with this one. There will be some moments where objectively we have to say, oh, that's kind of dumb or whatever. But we are coming at this movie, at least I am, from a place of love. This is one of the most entertaining films I've seen all of my life. I do come back to this one every now and then. It's a fun, easy watch. And obviously, we wanted to do some kind of, with the passing of Joel Schumacher on the 22nd at the age of 80, we wanted to do something that was a bit of a tribute to him. Some people might see it as a slight that we're picking this movie. It's absolutely not. It's just an entertaining movie that we want to watch and talk about. I mean, the guy's had an immense career, which I'm sure we'll talk about during the stream at some point. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one. It's been quite a while since I saw this one.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I grew up with this. One of the very first DVDs we had, played a lot across my childhood. It was kind of like I wouldn't say it's like the prequels, but one day I discovered that people didn't like this film, and I was kind of shook because I didn't know how you couldn't. Growing up with it, obviously I get it if you grew up with Michael Keaton and then this came out. That's a conversation for later on. But no, so much fun with this. It's an enjoyable film. It still is to this day, and I can't wait. It's been I don't know the last time I watched this. I want to say maybe around the time Dark Knight Rises came out.
Oh, wow.
Probably. But it's a film that you don't forget anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't forget it. It's memorable for all the right reasons.
I mean, I've only seen this film once, but I could probably still quote it quite heavily. This film never really had any influence on me. This was a movie that I watched once and I just passed it off as just dumb, but also quite fun. Like, I don't really have any major like negative qualms. Everyone's already kind of ripped into it so hard. It's very difficult to kind of get your words in when everyone is that kind of focused on this being considered to be a bad film, but it does cross over into that so bad it's good margin very easily. So I'm looking forward to watching this again because I mean it's Batman and Robin.
It's a movie that knows exactly what it is, and I mean, even growing up, I think the first Batman movie I ever saw was '89, probably followed by the '60s Batman, the Adam West one, and then this was the next one. So I always just kind of saw this as an extension of like a more modern '60s equivalent, essentially, very tongue-in-cheek. It almost plays out like a cartoon. I think even Joel Schumacher on set was saying stuff like, remember guys, we're filming it's be cartoony, we're filming a cartoon here. And I love it because of that. I like Batman when it's dark, serious and thought-provoking, and I also can have fun with a Batman that's light campy, a light campy romp, which this movie is exactly that. So I think we should get straight to it. 2 hours, 4 minutes and 53 seconds. So grab your copy, whether you're watching on DVD, you've got it bought, however you're watching it. This one actually isn't on Netflix, we will say that. So however you're watching your copy, get it to 0. And I guess we'll go on 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go.
I am genuinely excited. Like it has been a while since watching this, so
I do love this though, how it turns twice. I do think that's pretty cool. I remember right around the same time that this movie came out, there was one of the animated series films came out called Batman Sub-Zero, where Mr. Freeze was also the bad guy. And arguably you could say that movie dealt with Freeze in a much more mature way than even the live action movie did. But I remember having the 2 VHS cassette tapes, and you had like the Frozen Batman logos in both of them at the beginning, which was quite fun.
I find it quite interesting that Arnie got top billing on this.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'd have something in his contract that made that happen.
I was going to say, over the actual person, I am up to 54, 55, 56, 57.
Perfect. Thank you. My stream has gone. That's okay. Right. I feel like I'm on level. I'm on 1 minute and 7.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're a little bit ahead, but yeah.
And
Right.
before we begin, this is not a drink along, but I am going to raise a toast to Joel Schumacher, who passed this week just gone. And I took a shot right at the ass as well, didn't I?
I feel like this would be better if there was like campy music going along with it for this entire montage.
I do like the gadgets, though. I do like seeing them suit up in that way. I didn't really need an extreme close-up of the Bat and Robin ass, but we got it. It's fine.
Even with this film being this campy and stuff like that, I'd take it any day over some of the modern DC films.
Like honestly. Dark Knight Rises, or...
The thing is, this is stylish.
Yeah.
It's like, this is like stylized. It's not just a black filter. There's a lot of... And like, we'll talk about costumes and colors and stuff, but... Obviously, Joel Schumacher was gay. He came to set with 20,000 people, which is insane. Don't know if that's true or not. But as a kid, when I watched this, I didn't think it was camp or anything because it was just like a stylized multicolor. Obviously, you grew up, you realize, okay, yeah, it is. But
this is why
really
works alone. So, was this the first Batman film to do it, where we're bridging that universe? Did they mention Metropolis in Batman Begins, or am I just misremembering that? It might be in Superman Returns they mention Gotham. I might be thinking of that one.
I love the music. Yeah.
And like Robin's costume in this looks more like Nightwing, which I quite like. They've changed it to red. Nightwing's is a blue costume, but this is all fine. I mean, it's the very neon-filled Gotham that we saw from the previous movie, but it's fine.
This is the thing. It makes Gotham look... I mean, I like... Nolan's the realism, it's modern-day skyscrapers. Yeah. That's fine for, like, the city. But this is, like, this cyberpunk game that's coming out. Like, this is so its own thing. I like it. Versus, again, more recent ones, just stick a black filter on the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always had Did anyone get James Bond vibes of Batman, where there's so many different interpretations, they just fall under one? That's why I don't have any issue when they start recasting them.
Well, I think, especially with these two, I always kind of see the Joel Schumacher 2 as sort of like more of a spiritual successor than an outright continuation. But you do have the thing where you have Pat Hingle returning as Commissioner Gordon. You do have Michael Gough returning as Alfred from the two Tim Burton 2. So there is some carryover there in many ways, as you get with Emma from James Bond and Judi Dench.
Yeah, the stylization as well. There is a little bit of carryover. It is still quite Tim Burton-y without it being Tim Burton directing.
I mean,
there is elements.
This set isn't Tim Burton at all. But
I just love this. It's the icicles, how they form.
Just made of like plastic. They just get nudged. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's the fact that like this was my introduction to Arnold Schwarzenegger as well at a young age.
What do we think to the freeze suit?
I love it.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. I think if you're gonna do a live action version of Mr. Freeze, I don't really know how else you can do the suit. I mean, he does have the nipples, as everyone does in this movie. Apart from Alicia Silverstone, she doesn't have nipples on her costume.
You know what? I would love to see a modern adaptation of Mr. Freeze in a kind of the universe that they've been kind of putting forward with Nolan's universe and everything like that. Imagine a gritty Freeze. It would just be so...
You could do it. You could do it. The Arkham games are a good example of that. I think that's fucking awesome, sliding down and then the cape. Oh, I love it.
It's the hockey.
It's the glide takedown from the Arkham games. This is amazing. This is so good.
I mean, I feel like Schwarzenegger's dismissed this film as the years have gone by, but deep down he probably actually loves it.
Have you seen that he carves the Robin logo into the wall when he comes through on the bike? This is so good.
But then, like, Warner Brothers wanted this to be a kids' film.
Well, exactly. Like when it came up at the beginning, Warner Brothers was like, if you want to see a culprit of this movie, how it turned out, don't point the finger at Joel Schumacher or any of the cast in this film.
So, quick
this
question.
was Warner Brothers through and through with this
I have a
film.
question. What came first, Starlight Express or this film? Did Starlight Express get influenced by this film?
You even kind of get this in the Arkham games, though, how you have the henchmen of all the different respective villains and their costumes all look kind of similar.
And the villain will just disappear for the boss battle later on.
Yeah. Free flow combat on ice. Let's do it.
Is this them pitching Batman on Ice? Coming to a local town near you.
I went to Batman Live many years ago, and that was in its short stint.
Oh God, I remember. Yeah, I didn't go.
I actually remember liking it, but then it just didn't make any money. Yeah, I was in Birmingham. That's 9 years ago now. Christ almighty.
I just don't get the hate that this film gets. It's like, what would people expect? Even Batman Forever. I prefer this movie to Batman Forever purely because for me, Forever kind of had its foot on both sides. There were scenes in the film that were trying to be serious and like a legit Batman film. And then you also had like the crazy Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face antics and the Riddler.
Because and Forever gave us Kiss from a Rose.
That's true. Is it a really snidey thing to say the best bit of Batman Forever is the end credits when we get Kiss from a Rose? But it's true.
Maybe.
Whereas this movie just embraces it. It's just fuck it. Guy just got yeeted.
I will say the gravity from this film is worse than Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
You see the icicles wobble in the background there. Oh, it's amazing. What was the budget for this thing? I need to check this.
If you think about it, like Batman '89 is like it's a Tim Burton film, but Batman Returns is full Tim Burton. '94 is kind of Batman Forever's, it's Joel Schumacher, and '97 is like this is full Joel Schumacher.
I don't even know.
Adore it.
Can you pin down absolute Joel Schumacher? Because he followed this movie up with a movie called 8mm, which stars Nicolas Cage, which is a crime film. It's actually one of the tensest films I've seen, where he investigates a snuff film in like a porn industry kind of thing, and it's really seedy and grimy and dark. And
so, Chris, what you're saying is this film isn't a seedy, grimy snuff film.
I think it's more that Warner Brothers said, we're making a kids film. Do whatever you want to do, but it's a kids film, and I just think he went all out, and it's amazing.
Even back then, DC or / Warner Brothers were always reactionary with their Batman films. Like Returns came out, and I think it was kids went to see it, but many parents said it was too scary, too grotesque, too mean-spirited, everything like that. Then you get Forever, and then clearly Warner Brothers want to double down on that. They want to release toys. That's why you get all the different vehicles in this film and the different costumes. And they got it. And then reactionary people hated this. They reboot it however many years later with Batman Begins. And then they're even more reactionary now, arguably, with the DCEU. Each movie that comes out feels like an apology for the last one.
And that's why we're getting the same film 4 years apart next year.
But yeah, Schumacher as a director, he's just... It's weird that he has these two movies that I guess it shows that he's a versatile director, that he can do a family / kids film like this. He's done all kinds of stuff. Phantom of the Opera, that's quite gothic in its look and quite dark imagery and things like that. The Lost Boys, 8mm, as I mentioned. He's done stuff like Falling Down and Flatliners. So,
but then also he did The Wiz.
Did he do The Wiz?
I've only seen a handful.
The most colourful films
he wrote
The
Wiz. He wrote The Wiz. He didn't direct it though.
Did he not direct it?
It was directed by Sidney Lumet. It was written by Joel Schumacher though. He did the screenplay.
I have only seen two of the films, which was Phone Booth and Flatliners. Phone Booth was like the first ever 15 rated film I saw at the age of like 7, 8. So it was like really cool. And I just remember Colin Farrell in the phone booth and then someone dying later on. But did Joel Schumacher write this as well?
I think he co-wrote it. Let me just double check. No, so it was written by Akiva Goldsman, who I checked what else
Transformers. That rings a bell.
He did the story for The Last Night. If you can say there was even a story to that film. He's one of the most... Just for every hit there are about 4 misses on this thing. So he wrote Forever. He wrote Batman and Robin. He wrote Lost in Space, which was like the late 90s remake of that. Not great movies. Then he did the screenplay for A Beautiful Mind, Ron Howard, which is fantastic. He got the Academy Award for the screenplay for that film. Then he did iRobot, kind of service. It's an all right movie, but the screenplay itself, it's just sort of generic action movie. Did stuff like The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, Divergent. And then do you remember The Dark Tower? Do you remember that movie?
I will say, Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons gets a lot of unnecessary flack. I quite enjoy those films.
I love Da Vinci Code. I wasn't too hot on Angels and Demons. I only saw it the once.
Inferno had 1, maybe 2 good moments. It just didn't feel like it was connected to the series, though. People actually forget that film existed. So
I have only seen the first 2, and I didn't like Da Vinci Code, but I liked Angels and Demons. That might have been like 13-year-old me liking Ewan McGregor still. I just remember him being the villain all along, and it was something to do with the Pope. But
this is awesome. This is awesome. I don't.
Hey, look! It's Rise of the Silver Surfer.
The weird neon butterfly wings on Mr. Freeze is weird. I don't like that, but this is. I miss Batman films like this where you do have that heightened comic book sense to them. I'd like to go back to those. I'd like an Arkham kind of movie, and that's what I'm hoping the new Reeves trilogy is going to be like.
Seeing Mr. Freeze's look here, if they were going to reboot him to make him gritty, I reckon it'd be steampunk. And that that would work.
It'd be really hard to. I think he's a really hard guy to get into a film because you can't get. If it goes wrong, the film won't work. I think
depends on the tone how you do it.
Yeah,
it looks like Reeves is going for another sort of grittier take, sort of similar to Nolan in a way. So he won't work in a universe like that. You need to get that fine line like the Arkham series and the Arkham games did, where it is dark, it is violent, it is gritty, but it has that heightened sense
of reality.
So you could have villains in it like Clayface, or do proper comic book Bane or Mr. Freeze or something like that. So this seems still going.
The action hasn't actually stopped from the start.
No, it's still going.
Is this one of the longest? No, it's only 30 minutes long. It feels like 20 minutes.
The thing is, the soundtrack's phenomenal. It's not Danny Elfman, is it?
No, so this was I think it was Jerry Goldsmith. No, Elliot Goldenthal who did the music. See what else he's done. What other films might we have seen? He did the soundtrack for Heat. Interview with a Vampire, Demolition Man, Alien 3, Public Enemies. I still haven't seen that movie, actually. The Johnny Depp one. You had him right there, Mr. Freeze. You could have ended it.
I know.
That's such like a cartoon thing, though, isn't it? Like the villain of like, I'll get you next time, Batman.
Really surprised that he didn't just like draw a dick or something like that on the ice.
How strong! I know Batman's trained himself to physical perfection, but Jesus, he deadlifted the weight of Chris O'Donnell plus ice.
Yeah, what you didn't realize was they actually froze Chris O'Donnell for this scene to be extra accurate.
See, Batman pulling a gadget out like that, like a laser gun thing that heats things up conveniently, like I'm fine with that. Batman's just, that's a trope. He's got every gadget on his. Oh, now we've got. I mean, this is like a Universal Monsters movie right here, isn't it? Complete with thunder crackle. Look at it.
I just remember the weird scientists.
Oh, he's so good. He did the voice of. I believe he did the voice of the Riddler in the animated series.
Oh, really?
He's a really good character actor. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. John Glover.
Did you do him in the Arkham games?
Let me check. He was also in Shazam as was he the dad of? I think he was the dad of Mark Strong in it, wasn't he? If I remember rightly.
Oh yeah.
Batman the Animated Series, Edward Nygma, Superman the Animated Series, and the new Batman Adventures.
So he does a lot of Batman and DC stuff.
I don't think he's done. No, it doesn't look like he's done the Arkham games. I'll always remember him in like Gremlins 2 or RoboCop 2. He's a really good actor. He's really fun. It looks like he's having a lot of fun on this one as well.
So, question: if you were to revive, should we say 2 Batman villains for another film, who would you pick?
So
They both got to be in the same film.
They've both got to be in the same film, or or they could be separate films. You could just pick 2 villains that you reckon should be in the next kind of Batman films that are made.
So when you say revive, do you mean villains that have already been in films before, or complete? They could be completely new villains.
I'll say they could be complete. I'm going to say completely new villains as well, because I kind of want Court of Owls.
I'd want to say Penguin, but we're getting him, so I'm not going to say it.
Oh, the Gimp mask is on.
It's the Venom logo.
See, I've said this. Better or worse, this is not comic book. This is a more comic book accurate version of Bane, pumping full of venom to make him super strong. The luchador mask, in prison, in like Hispanic name, in a prison. That's Bane.
I get that. I know that's more the comics, but could you picture Christopher Nolan doing this?
Well, no, but exactly.
Tom Hardy.
So when
if it was Tom Hardy, he'd grow an extra 3 foot.
When Bane was confirmed, I was like, well, Bane doesn't fit in Nolan's universe. Don't do Bane. Just don't pick Bane. You could pick any other Batman villain,
No, you could say it was a disgruntled prisoner who
they
finds out about it.
They kind of did that in Dark Knight Rises, but then they throw you for a loop at the end and say, oh, no, it wasn't him. It was
he's still the henchman.
Al Ghul,
I like that it was different because it wouldn't have. The problem is what Batman villain could have been in Nolan's third film. The Riddler would have been another Joker. The Penguin would have. No,
I think if you're looking at 60s Batman, then yeah, they do play it very similar. But I think that there are a lot of differences now between the 2 characters.
There's differences, but for the Nolan realism world, it would just be another terrorist. That's my issue. I think you needed, the first one, you've got the whole, each film is Fear, Anarchy. I don't know what the third one is. Rise, whatever. But I don't think you could have got someone, you needed a physicality person. And obviously you can't have this machine in a Nolan world. But I think Tom Hardy bulked up well enough to look like he would beat the shit into Christian Bale.
It was more the performance. It was the stupid, weird voice. I just never bought it. And then they just kind of sideline him at the end and he just gets one-shotted and doesn't really have much impact.
And he's a pedo. That's another conversation. It's true.
But
wait,
who
is? Who?
Bane. Hardy's a little girl and he's in love with her. No one ever clocks on.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
That always threw me. No one ever says anything. One day we won't ever get it.
So who would you bring into a new film as a villain?
I really. It's a shame because I want Arkham to be filmed, but then I don't. I don't want another Joker, but would get one. I think Mr. Freeze would be interesting, but I don't know how people would jump to him.
If you were doing Freeze, I think Riddler on his own.
Yeah, I want Riddler in one. I know we're getting him again in the next one.
I'm just having a look at the villains now. I'm trying to see because that's one of my problems with this. One of my many problems with this movie. But the pairing of Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy makes no sense. Completely different agendas, and no way they try and chalk it up that she's going to have some special plants that can survive in cold. Their agendas are just completely different. Doesn't make any sense. So I'm just trying to see if I can find 2 that you could pair up.
They could do.
I'd love to see Hush. I would really, really like to see Hush. I'm trying to think. I think Hush could do it on his own, though. In all honesty, I don't think you could really need anyone else.
Blockbuster film. That's my thing. I would love him.
I think for a ground level movie, I think you absolutely could. Because I mean,
they could do a Red Hood adaptation.
yeah, you'd have to build that up though. You'd have to have like
Yeah.
the whole Robin, Death in the Family, and build up to that. You couldn't just drop that on. No, I think Hush is a really interesting villain. He's got the ties to Bruce Wayne's past. They were childhood friends, came from another wealthy family. Tommy Elliott, I think his name is. He killed his family for their wealth, whereas you've got the parallel of the dead parents and becoming a costume vigilante for different reasons. So I think he could carry it on his own. But if you're gonna have two in a movie, that's really stumped me.
I like that they've got Riddler and Penguin happening next year. I know they did them in that Gotham series before it went about OTT, and those two started off together, I think, or in the same concept.
Yeah.
I would love to see Clayface in a movie, but again, that'd be like a kind of Sandman from Spider-Man 3 type thing, where it can be done, but it depends on what tone you're going with your Batman movie.
I'd love to see Andy Serkis' Clayface, so he could play him in all the other forms.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be really good.
I know he's now Alfred, so he not in this universe at least.
I actually don't mind Clooney as maybe not so much as Batman, but I think he plays a very good Bruce Wayne.
Was he a silly question, but obviously I was one when this came out. Was he the A-lister? He was at this point. So he was still like, you've cast one of the biggest people in the world as Batman.
Yeah, I mean the whole cast for this thing, like of the time, maybe not. I mean, Alicia Silverstone was an up and comer. Chris O'Donnell, same again, but Uma Thurman, massive during the 90s. I'd say probably peaked with Kill Bill, arguably. George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It did have a massive cast in it. And
also, if you look at the year of the 90s when all these people are getting like $10-15 million a film, and it's the kind of like peak of that era.
I really like these scenes with them together. I think the moments like this really work.
I will say, everyone always says these kind of scenes are the standout scenes in the film.
I love Michael Goff as Alfred. I know, like most of them are being good. I would have liked to have seen more of Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I don't feel like I really saw enough to pass comment, but Michael Caine's fantastic in the Nolan trilogy. But when you think of sort of old man butler Alfred, I always think of Michael Goff.
That's the thing. Like, I know Michael Caine said it many times when Nolan first said you'll be the butler. He was like, no, and then he said, okay, you actually got a massive role. I was looking forward to the Jeremy Irons one because I think even though we had a few scenes in Batman v Superman, there was a more interesting dynamic because you had the older Batman as well. I'm very curious with Andy Serkis because he's a very, very good actor, but he's very young for an Alfred, the butler.
Well,
so I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I keep going to say it's a younger Batman, but he's older than Christian Bale was in Batman Begins. It's just, I guess he's just got one of those faces. But I would like to start seeing them move into more of the territory of new villains. I know that, the Joker's a villain that always keeps being brought up. There's rumors that the Joker is going to make an appearance somewhere in the Reeves trilogy, probably in the third movie.
I hope it's the third movie. I hope they don't go for the second movie.
Build him up, yeah. And I get that, a lot of people are feeling Joker fatigue, Suicide Squad, the games, he keeps cropping up all the time in them.
So if you were to cast a Joker, who would you currently cast?
Oh God, Jesus, I wouldn't even know.
I'd be honest, Serkis's Joker would be phenomenal.
He's playing Alfred, though.
I know he's playing Alfred, but I feel like he's miscast here.
I don't see him playing a Joker. I couldn't see that, to be honest.
The perfect Joker is too old, which is Willem Dafoe. I don't know, because we've had so many Jokers now.
What style of Joker would you even go for? Would you go classic like Romero, or would you?
I need to see what. Oh God, what's his name? I forgot his name. Help me out here. Who's playing Batman?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, thank you. I need to see what his Batman's like before I can say, how he can play off him.
I feel like he's going to be in middle ground of Bale and Keaton. I think he's going to be in the middle of that.
Yeah. That's one thing that I actually, as much as I hate the movie, I do wish I could have got at least one scene of Affleck and Leto together on screen together, just so I can see.
He did in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He was on the roof of the car.
Not like really an exchange, though, is it? But
you wanted the Jared Leto interrogation scene.
Yeah.
I think Ben Affleck probably just break his neck.
Would there be an opportunity to have an older Joker?
I don't think so. I think
not with a young Batman.
My favorite scene, best scene. This is amazing. I love how this scene is immediately followed with Mr. Freeze mourning his comatose wife, Nora Freeze, and it's like a really emotional moment.
So in fact, he's making them eat their dinners frozen.
Why would you work for him?
It must be good pay.
For them? Yeah, I guess so. It's just desecrating the memory of Nora Freeze right now. That's a frozen cigar as well. I don't even know how that works, but I don't care.
Disney got way ahead of their marketing. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it is proper raining outside where I am.
I wonder how much time he spent in makeup each day.
Is it like that kind of toxic lead paint that the Tin Man was in Wizard of Oz?
You know what? It could be something similar because I'm sure that I've actually seen it on the news in the past few years. You've reminded me of something now. Let me have a quick search.
I say the first actor they got for the Tin Man, they had to let him go because he was like dying of like lead poisoning and shit from the paint, constant bloodshot eyes and everything. It's really bad.
2017. Hold on.
I think this scene's dubbed here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Schwarzenegger can't fucking talk.
Aside from the layers of makeup, it required an LED system in Arnold's mouth for close-ups, including an LED battery.
Jesus.
If Arnie's saliva creeped into the seams, it could attack the batteries and start disintegrating and putting battery acid into his mouth. As you can understand, Arnie once said it tastes like shit. What on earth has gone in my mouth?
That's why they paid him the big bucks.
And it cost 20. You could only get 20 minutes out of the batteries anyway.
That's how he got top billing.
It cost us $5,000 a minute to wait. Don't know if that's his salary or if that's the batteries in the suit.
Jesus, the mind boggles. Well, I mean, the budget of this thing was 160 mil. It made 238. Apparently, it's the lowest grossing Batman movie. I'm trying to see if I can find out how much money.
Begins probably made about 400, I think.
So apparently, Patrick Stewart was originally considered for the role of Mr. Freeze. I could see him playing a good, serious take on Mr. Freeze, but that was before the script was rewritten to accommodate Arnold Schwarzenegger's casting. So,
I could picture it.
Oh, here we go. Schwarzenegger was paid $25 million salary for the role.
And that was in back then money.
They all got paid that, didn't they?
The makeup took 6 hours to apply each day. Yeah, wow, Jesus.
So this budget is
So this is a weird switch here, how they've done this. So they've got Barbara Pennyworth, which is not Batgirl. Yeah. Batgirl is Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon's daughter, which even the Nolan films didn't do. He does have a daughter, and but Barbara is the name of his wife. So did they also call the daughter Barbara? I don't know. But then again, fucking detective, what's his name? Gordon, what's his name? Blake, Detective John Blake.
Blake, yeah.
He's
Robin.
he's Robin now, apparently. So fuck the established law, right? Who cares?
This budget is more than Batman Begins.
That's mad.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I believe it. I mean, if you look at the sets in this compared to Begins,
It's definitely the salaries.
yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, 160 million in '97 versus 150 in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh look, here's this like low key director that's made these really artsy independent films. We can boss him about. 15 years later, it's like, you're opening my fucking film this month, dickheads. not you can have it next year. Like, who's in control now?
Has the release date been moved again?
They've moved it one final time. They probably didn't tell him. I bet it was a probably really dangerous. Imagine the phone call. Like, he's probably there in like his building, probably like a boss penthouse or something. I can picture this phone ringing of Warner Brothers. You can just imagine the conversation saying, "We're gonna delay it again." I bet the phone just went off. Like, there was no words. And then like he rings up like Universal, like, "Do you need a new Bond director?"
That's quite a creepy line. You came to tuck me in.
That's quite a switch.
Well, when you think about the suit, when you think about the suit he does make for her, and it's his niece.
Yeah.
Also,
how did he take her measurements? He hadn't seen her in ages. Did he just, when she was sleeping one night, did he have like?
Did you not see? He gave her a hug. He measured her then.
You look so sexy in this leather outfit. You dastardly dog, Alfred.
I know where this is going.
Oh no. No, Michael Goff is a sweet and innocent man. Don't do this to me. Just cracks her on the ass as she walks off. You look so much like your mother. I can't take credit for that. That was Red Letter Media who made that joke. Oh, what was it? Oh, yeah. Mike Sicklass says, like, you look so much like your mother, especially from behind. Oh, yeah, there's this whole subplot just so we can have a bike chase later on in the movie where she's...
They bring back the punk people.
Yeah.
You constantly see the weird rockers come back.
A rebel, if you will, as she repels down the building.
I like the race thing.
I found out some information about Coolio's character later on that I didn't even know until about 10 minutes before we went live. So when we get to that scene later on, I'll share that because there is technically another Batman villain in this movie that I never knew about. Oh, is this where Bane's in like the driver and he's in like the hat and the trench coat? Oh, please say it is. That statue's just cradling balls there in the background for some reason.
Oh, the most emphatic Bruce Wayne pronunciation in history.
I think that was Bob Kane's wife, wasn't it? That kind of exuberant woman, the creator of Batman.
That is a look right there.
He kind of looks like the Undertaker. You know, kind of like wrestlers go to the ring in a ridiculous costume.
I've always loved that as an alternate costume on Injustice or something.
Oh, look, it's a statue holding the shaft to go along with your statue holding the balls.
That building does not look safe. You would not get me in that building at all.
They're still bloody building it.
No, they're building the telescope. They've built the building. They just haven't built the telescope to go inside the building yet. That is an offensively pink dress. Jesus.
That's just like costume department. Hey, we need something that's going to stand out.
This chick was Bob Kane's wife.
I'm remembering all the ending parts of the film. You know, when characters come in you've not seen in years.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's all planned ahead of time, isn't it? Just here's your exposition scene. This totally won't be back in the ending of the movie.
Mm. Because that's not completely...
this whole movie just feels like everyone's just fighting to see who can ham it up the most.
Yeah.
I think I think John Glover's character of the guy who Woodrow, Dr. Woodrow or whatever his name, takes it, but
to be fair, her costume's winning at the moment. Just like absolutely.
I mean, if you know any kind of conservationist or anything, are they that dissimilar to Uma Thurman's portrayal right here?
What, of eco warriors?
Yeah, like the really hardcore ones. You know, the ones I'm talking about. I mean, I'm all for like taking care of the planet, animals, plants, trees, all of that stuff. But you do get some people who are.
I know too many people like this.
Well, George, when we were doing London Film Festival, obviously it was the Extinction Rebellion protests in London at the same time.
Yes. So I'm more remembering now the better memory of when they jumped on the red carpet, and I didn't mean Oscar Isaac because of them. But an autograph dealer throws a lightsaber, smashes one of them in the face on the ground. If you're bored, just type in Extinction Rebellion, Rise of Skywalker. I mean, the security. How do you let 9 people jump on a red carpet? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had knives. But no, I work for a compliance company now, so I know a lot of people like this without naming names.
I love how it says "Save the Rainforest" and then there's flames all around it.
I know, right?
This is very loud.
Hmm?
You can imagine if it just cut to Bruce Wayne, like, I can hear you.
Yeah. Monologue.
Hasn't she got like security guards escorting her out who are probably going to pass this on to their...
I don't know. I think she's just walking off on her own.
Just love someone to be off screen saying, "I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?"
Has he got an ICE TV? I think he's got an ICE TV, hasn't he?
So
he's got an ICE TV. How does that? I don't care. It's cool.
He's got multiple ICE TVs.
I mean, he was a scientist. We think he created this technology too.
I love his polar bear slippers. They look really comfy.
Wait, I got this. Freeze the presses. No. Come on, we've got to come up with a worse one in this film.
This wasn't the maid that was working for Schwartz. No, okay.
Did he also shave his eyebrows?
They probably put something over him, I would imagine. Can you buy that dressing gown? Like, for all the merchandise that came out for this film, I'm very surprised if that dressing gown wasn't released.
I'm sure you can.
Probably on Etsy, someone's created it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, this Halloween, going completely bold and...
Mr. Freeze. I'm down. If I can get a costume.
I mean, this is a great set piece.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, there's not a Mr. Freeze on Etsy.
I'll find one. I'll find a way to find one.
I will find him.
So, with you preferring this Bane,
yeah.
What about Monkey Suit Bane?
Totally fine with it. Totally fine with it, because they redeem it with one of the most awkward strip teases. Thankfully not from Bane, in movie history. you thought Uma Thurman was sexy as Poison Ivy, but have you seen sexy Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy dressed as a purple gorilla? No, you haven't. Joel Schumacher gave us that. And I'm so grateful that he did.
I just love how like Batman and Robin are doing PR appearances now.
Yeah.
Here they are. Oh my god, look at this. Look at this. They look like they're made of candy floss.
I mean, it's so much more like the 60s Batman.
I was just just this whole exchange being here. I could imagine Adam West's voice coming from that Batman.
Do we think Uma Thurman was in the pink suit running up the stairs as well?
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
I mean, she's now the same size as Bane, so. And there's literally just pimping out people in a blockbuster film. Like, can you imagine this in 2020?
It's almost like actual Hollywood. Oh, here we go. Let's bring it on. Can someone do an edit where it's actually Bane doing this dance?
With the Chris Nolan Bane voice. It's the eyes.
I know.
This is
Tate's getting a bit
hot
under the collar, aren't you? So need to like pull out some dollar bills. I mean, if you subtract the purple gorilla costume, I think as a live action costume for Poison Ivy, it works, right? It's not too dissimilar to the comics.
That's pretty good.
Do you think they'll ever do a Poison Ivy in a film? It'd be risky. I'd like them to, but I don't know if they will.
It would have to be. They could, with the whole kind of leaning into the heavy eco warrior kind of side of things. I reckon they could. I reckon they could pull it off.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
I was
going to say, not to go into too much information, but me in '97 watching this movie was like, oh, that's a thing. This scene is still going.
It's still going. They know to like get on the knees.
And you're saying this is a kids' film, yes?
I mean, this is much more 2020, right? You got the woman walking over the men, sign of power, dominance, everyone's sort of bowing down to her. I think it's very progressive.
I feel like Batman's and Robin's nipples have got somehow harder in this scene.
And doesn't give anything away to them.
Mm-hmm. And like, what is that strange thing you've just sprayed in my face?
Cocaine.
As long as it's legal.
How old is he meant to be in this film?
I don't know. Yeah. As long as it's not Tim Drake Robin, who's like a child, then we're fine, you know? I know, like, going back to what you were saying about could Poison Ivy work now, I don't think she could carry a film as a villain on her own. I think I think you could include her as a cameo in, like, Arkham or something. I think keep her to that. I don't want to see like a Gotham that's overrun by plants and everything like that. I don't think it's an interesting story to tell with Poison Ivy that much.
If you make her fully into like an eco-terrorist, then absolutely you could.
Well, the more compelling villains of Batman are the ones that parallel his psyche somewhat. You know, the Joker's the best example of that. Hush. Yeah. Two-Face, arguably, as well, is a good one.
Two sides of the law, isn't it?
Yeah. So villains like that are interesting. Even Scarecrow, the concept of fear, and Batman's got a fear of Ra's al Ghul.
At the same time, Scarecrow really worked, and he doesn't really parallel Batman at all.
No, it's the fear. Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Yeah. Batman dresses as Bat to strike fear into the hearts of the people he fights. The Scarecrow's trying to create fear in people. When Scarecrow goes into his head, then it brings up like PTSD with Batman and all of his history that he has to overcome. You could do a lot of good stuff with a Scarecrow.
I think with Poison Ivy, you could take the angle of like his company and their impact on the environment and stuff like that.
But it's not. Is that really an interesting Batman story to tell for like a feature film for 2 hours, 2.5 hours?
Who would you have a team up with though? Like,
I just wouldn't. I mean, she notoriously teams up a lot of the time with Harley Quinn in the animated series and the comic books and everything. It's like a Thelma and Louise kind of situation.
I was gonna say, they team up in Gotham, if I remember. So.
I just love how Freeze is just throwing people in this movie.
That was the bat flip, not a backflip.
This physics. What are physics? What is that? What just happened? It's like, your pheromones don't work on me, woman. I cannot get a boner in this costume. Nice.
It's like the Qui-Gon Watto thing.
Just undo it from the back. Like, Jesus.
Where does he even jump to?
I forgot he did that. Boom.
Bam. Sorry, had the.
They would not be out of place. Tell me they wouldn't be out of place.
They really wouldn't be out of. They would not nowhere near out of place.
I love the freeze mobile. So cool. Look at it. It looks like a robot from Robot Wars. It's like Matilda or something.
Imagine when he gets to the guy that gets to drive it on set.
Freezes little waves out the window.
Could you put it? Imagine it on Mad Max, like a speeding up version with all the fucking giant. Yes, because it wouldn't kill them straight away.
I'll kill you next time.
Never like this Gordon.
I
like the fact. I know, but he's not meant to be important, but I get it.
He's quite bumbling. Yeah, he doesn't really have much impact.
I love how Bane just didn't get involved.
Yeah, like the muscle. He gets involved once in the movie. I like the look of Bane. Like, it's fine. The actor was like, I think he was an American wrestler.
I have to question why there is so many giant statues in Gotham.
I love it.
Unbelievably, just why?
That's Schumacher. That's absolutely Schumacher through.
I mean, it's in a country that carved the 4 heads of people onto like a mountain. Like, is it really out of place?
Yeah, good point.
Well, in terms of the suits, like why everyone's got like chiseled suits and the bodies and everything, he wanted to compare them to like Greek gods and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that the statues in the city are just an extension of that.
Do you think that's got a good suspension?
Just a fucking car chase down a bicep. It's like
I kind of want it on GTA. Now I've seen it, I really want it on GTA Online.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the Batmobile. I mean, it's pretty close to the Burton one, relatively in design. But it's just got all the neon lights and stuff on it, hasn't it? I've never hated the Batmobile. I don't like it as much as the Tim Burton one, but
I just realized that he had Alexa 20 years before it really got its cars.
Oh god, it is like Mad Max. Just got people going like, "Roar!"
That's
what is he screaming no for? And you can tell they're all miniatures as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I've always wanted to know how Batman takes out Freeze in a second. That's cool.
I mean, I'll be honest, it made the jump, so why didn't he stay in?
Does he just glide take down him?
Yes.
He just Superman punches him.
And then he's just there.
He looks paralyzed. Arnie, we're going to pay you like 10 grand just to lie down for the next 10 minutes.
So yeah, I was just looking at Bane. The guy was called Robert Svensson. He was an absolute unit, 6'4" and 405 pounds. And he actually died the same year that this movie came out, at the age of 40, of heart failure. So, I mean, that's got to be roids, right? And just...
All very rarely Restless Makeup has 60 from that era as well. So, yeah, that'll be exactly that.
I think he probably gave himself an extra dose for this movie, to be honest. If he knew he was playing the character, I would expect.
I never liked Robin in this film.
He's whining the whole time. So obnoxious.
Would you bring Robin back in for another Batman film, or is that just not happening?
If they'd got the extended universe right, I wouldn't have been against it. But they went straight for him being dead, didn't they?
There's two ways you can go about it. If you've got like a cinematic universe type situation, which they tried and failed at, and you've got that longevity, start with Batman on his own, have him recruit Robin, and have Robin come into it like halfway through. Kind of like a War Machine with Iron Man kind of situation, I guess. Or if you're just starting a new franchise and you're saying that Robin and the Bat family is just going to be part of it from the off, you're going to have Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, the whole shebang from the off, then that's fine. I can just go with that from the beginning. There's a lot of setup, though. If you're starting from scratch, there's a lot of character setup and history and relationships to develop. So you'd need about 5 or 6 movies to do it justice.
Although it's easy to make digs at Batman and Superman, I still maintain that the opening credits is probably one of the best Batman scenes in all the Batman films. Obviously, it's been done to death, the parents, but just the way it was done, the music, it was a really good way to get it distinctly away from the Nolan one to introduce, like, okay, he's older now. Because this is the silly one where they just show like a rose or something, if I remember. Or was that Forever?
Well, in Forever, they do the death again. I guess it's still meant to be in vague continuity of the Keaton ones loosely, but it's different. You don't see... They keep the Jack Nicholson character in shadow from it. They don't do that scene again.
Wasn't there an idea between this and Nolan to do... Or was the original... No, sorry, the third Burton was going to have Scarecrow, wasn't it, originally?
So I was going to get into that later, actually. So I found out that... I think are we coming to it? No, I think the thing comes later, doesn't it? But Coolio's character, I found out, is actually Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow.
Wow.
Which is hilarious. So I always thought it was called Batman Triumphant, but I've just double-checked, and apparently it was going to be called Batman Unchained, which is quite funny. And the main villains were going to be Scarecrow. I think that Schumacher originally wanted Nicolas Cage in the role, but they eventually went with Coolio. I've got to assume that's a studio thing, wanting to push sort of popular music people at the time. Yeah. And Harley Quinn, who was going to be the Joker's daughter, not a love interest of the Joker.
Oh, God, why?
There were going to be flashback scenes of Batman having like PTSD and horrific images of Jack Nicholson Joker. Jack Nicholson was going to return as a cameo. And the whole concept, I love this look of Arkham, by the way. I know it's completely over the top, but I love it. It's so good. So comic booky. Universal Monsters again. And the whole... Go on, sorry.
Every time there's a new building, the establishing shots, like even if it's just a crane going up on a miniature, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Darth Maul in the Clone Wars finale.
Need that Blade Runner kind of music right now. But yeah, and the whole plot was going to be Scarecrow and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn wanted revenge for the death of her father, and Scarecrow wanted to try and get Batman into Arkham. And apparently the ending shot was going to be him going to a cave in some foreign country, and the bats were going to swarm around him, showing that he's conquered his fear, essentially. And actually, on paper, as an idea, that sounds pretty fucking good. I quite like the idea of that, but it would have gone with this tone, wouldn't it? I have to imagine it would have still been like this, and that wouldn't have worked.
If Tim Burton had done that idea, I would have liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because for this Joel Schumacher, I like the fact he completely took the whole franchise into his own direction.
Well, again, with talks of it, Patrick Stewart originally meant to be Mr. Freeze. Was there ever an intention there to try and keep it somewhat grounded? Maybe have it more like Batman Forever again, where it's sort of half and half, or
I can imagine they thought, okay, we need a bold villain who's a scientist. Patrick Stewart because of Star Trek.
Freeze is quite a Shakespearean villain as well, with how he talks. At least in the animated series, he is.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they did Freeze seriously, it'd be really intriguing because it would need to work because the film wouldn't work. But if it did, it would be one of the best villains probably in terms of like sympathizing and seeing their perspective. Here's Bane in his jacket again.
That is a look, isn't it?
We get a shot in a moment, don't? Oh no, it's after this. This is where they fight the gang, isn't it? I know that you see the Riddler and Two-Face's costume hanging up in the
asylum.
The costume, in the asylum. Apparently, you were going to see Scarecrow's outfit in there, which wouldn't make any sense if Jonathan Crane still wasn't the Scarecrow at that point. But I don't get the whole thing with the neon gangs.
I love it. I don't know why.
Cool look, but
it's like The Last of Us. Like you go to a new town and there's a new sort of cult. And here's another one. It's the people that paint themselves every morning. I love how he presses his button like he's on a console as well when he wants to get going.
If you gave Bane actual dialogue in this, I stand by it. Forget the movie around it. I think when this came out, I think Bane was a relatively new villain. Let me check when he was written. I think he came out.
I want to say early 90s. Was Nightfall like 93?
Yeah, it must have been. Let me just double check. I love the little cartoony noises when they fly through the air as well.
It's like the banana peel kind of sound, isn't it?
Yeah. January of 93.
I mean, the good thing with comics, when you think about take DC, Marvel, their entirety, how often, because they reboot them so often, very rarely do you actually get new established characters, villains or heroes. Like Miles Morales is 2011.
Yeah.
And that's probably comic-wise, one of the best things Spider-Man's introduced in probably 50 odd years.
It's like they don't usually introduce a villain that sticks around for very long. It's very, very rare that you can change up the main character every now and then, or you can kind of edit the universe. Like with was it DC when they completely rebooted their universe? Marvel's rebooted their universe a couple of times. Oh,
DC's was quality. Like when I used to read comics, New 52 just started. It was a really good starting point, and then it was all fine, and then they just randomly rebooted it again, and it was an absolute waste of time to do it, and it was just not bothering.
Yeah, but to get a brand new villain in that sticks around for a while, it's quite difficult.
And this is my issue. Off a separate point, going to Spider-Man. I know, obviously, it sounds like I'm entitled, but Zendaya, I don't know how you pronounce it. Sorry, as Mary Jane. She's not Mary Jane. She's not MJ. Just call it a new character. The same way that Rachel in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight isn't Vicky Vale, isn't a love interest that's new. She was just a new character they wrote for the films. Why didn't they just write a new character for the films? You don't have to make everything something from the comics. They're allowed to do their own thing. And I just wish that they did. I know it's a completely different video, but that could have been a really easy thing to do in Spider-Man.
It's just a lack of respect for the source material. It's like none of the characters, the side character, and the side, for better or worse, you can nail your Spider-Man or your villains or whatever, but your side characters with Spider-Man are integral as well. Aunt May, JJ, Betty Brant, Mary Jane, and the love interest.
It's like Ned. It's like Ned. He's a new character. He's Ned. He's not Harry Osborn, his best friend from school. He's just someone new. They got that bit right. And yes, he's got a massive role and stuff. And it's so inconsistent, those ones. It's just furious.
I think the only thing they've kind of nailed each time is the villain, the Vulture and Mysterio. I've had no problem with those. I just think
it would have been in Spider-Man 4 anyway.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
the Lizard as well. And that was the first villain they came back with.
Speaking of that, it's the one and only Tobey Maguire's birthday today.
Yes, it is.
45.
We can still do it. There's still hope.
Keaton's coming back. He can too.
Mm.
And Sam Raimi's back in the MC. Sam Raimi's probably only took the Doctor Strange job to get his Spider-Man 4 reference.
If anything, it'd be easier with Maguire because he's got a mask on half the time, so you can just get someone to do all the stunts and the fight scenes and everything, and just have him for the close-ups, which they probably did anyway, to be honest. But
well, the film's titled as Multiverse of Madness?
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
I think it's a coup that you fall out of the director that created the first out for creative differences, and then you end up hiring Sam Raimi. That is quite. That to me that sounds like more than creative differences. But Scott Derrickson's like really cool with it. Like he seems really excited for it. So.
Oh, here we go.
I
want to listen out to see if they do say Jonathan Crane, because that blew my mind when I read that before we went live.
Do you reckon Johnny Depp would have been Scarecrow in a Tim Burton film?
Yeah, probably. Let's be honest. I don't know.
Still think could Johnny Depp do a Joker?
Not now. He's Grindelwald now.
It's played out. Like I'm tired of seeing Johnny Depp as this character. Like he did it too much.
Because we didn't really answer the question of who could play a Joker.
I no idea. Absolutely.
Oh,
no
he's
idea.
got the tattered clothes.
Is he? He's just say banker?
Chris, would you dye your hair yellow and orange and red?
If I wanted to be an absolute cunt, then yeah, sure.
I always used to laugh at the little kid.
Oh yeah.
That's what like Make America Great Again kids look like when they're with their dads at like racist rallies.
I actually really like how they established the whole Robin thing in Batman Forever, where it was on his helmet, wasn't it? Or was it a nickname they used to call him, his family?
Flying Robin or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love the way they did it in that film.
I thought it was they nailed the origin story. I thought it was a really cool setup of how you work the name Robin into there so it doesn't just come out of nowhere. I thought that was decent.
And you kind of felt something because Bruce Wayne watches them all die, and it's the whole,
So I'm guessing if Jonathan Crane in this universe, who's not Dr. Jonathan Crane or anything like that,
he's at uni. He's at uni. This is his spare time.
His henchmen would have all been on bikes, I'm guessing. Right.
It's like, do you remember MotorStorm on PS3?
Yeah.
This is literally this.
Launch game. Loved it.
Such a classic.
So I've just been reading some fan castings online, and Will Poulter's name's come up.
He's got the eyes. Don't know if he's got the chin.
Could see that.
But he's good enough to do it. Because he was meant to be Pennywise as well.
Yeah. How old is Poulter?
Quite young. He looks a lot younger than what he is.
I want to say he's 24, 20. No, he's older than 24.
He'll be older than that.
Yeah.
I reckon he's about 27.
He is
27.
Yeah.
He just looks like a 15-year-old still.
Mm.
Is he been cast in Lord of the Rings? Or was that a rumour?
He was rumoured to be casting, but he dropped out of it. Which,
fair play to him. He dropped out of Lord of the Rings. It's quite.
I think the only actor in that upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings series I know is the guy who played Benjen Stark, and I'm guessing that he'll probably play Sauron. It's like 90s backing beat going on. Was this just to have an action scene in the movie?
Yes.
Sell toys. Motorbikes. Cut them all. Like the pod race, but not as good. Unless Joel Schumacher wanted to be a motorbike driver in reality.
Oh, I don't care what part of the universe you come from. That's gotta hurt.
I mean, they're on bikes. That wouldn't.
Why would you flip like that?
Would it melt the tires immediately?
No, not a chance. We have got one of the worst blue screen or rear projection scenes in history coming up right now, which is amazing considering the budget of this movie. It's when she's hanging upside down and it cuts to her like annoyed expression. It's close up. There you go. Look at that. Jesus Christ, that looks terrible. It's just like, what's going on with it? It's like you've keyframed it and just dragged the image around.
Quick question. Hold up. They've just basically, they're hanging there on the edge there. The people who tried to just kill them are still on the bridge.
Yeah, not important. Action scene over, Tate. We've got to move
on. The fire to rise.
Oh, she's got like a smoke mustache going on, or smoke beard going on right now. She's getting a bit of stubble, you know.
See, Tate, Alfred is the sweetest, most noble man alive. Don't you dare try and sully his name.
Or you've seen the costume she's in.
Not yet. I haven't. Not yet. I haven't.
Coming up though, Chris.
I mean, the dirtiest Alfred thing is in Batman Begins when he's putting Katie Holmes into the car.
Oh God,
that's probably one of the funniest. Like, the thing is, like, there's not much comedy in them films, but when he tries it, it tends to actually be very funny. But it's a bit for the older people, I think.
I forgot about that scene. Yeah, no, that's good.
It's like that was the moment Tom Cruise was watching at home. It's like, Katie, what did you do?
His biggest fear was Christian Bale getting sweaty with her, but it was actually Michael Caine the whole time.
And then he probably watched the premiere, just like looked at Michael Caine and just glared at him and says, Katie, you're not doing the Dark Knight.
Harry Osborn from the balcony expression.
I never know. Is he smiling in the balcony or is he angry? Like, it's just James Franco was definitely high when he filmed that.
Oh God, yeah, the whole movie.
Not as high as Oz, that one.
This is my favorite Mr. Freeze scene in the whole film, because this is almost taken directly from a scene from the animated series when he gets locked in Arkham and he makes a little ice figure of his wife in a glass. Like, if we'd have got a Mr. Freeze like this the whole time, I'd have been completely fine with it.
Sounds like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man soundtracks.
I can imagine Tim Burton doing a scene like that because it reminds me of Edward Scissorhands a little bit with the ice carving and the dancing and everything. Okay, now we've got to move on. That's best scene over now.
I mean, would they allow visitors to Mr. Freeze? Like,
especially one dressed like that, like Jesus.
What? It's just like.
I'll say she gets, as the film goes on, she becomes more and more drag queen-like to the part where she reaches final form at the end of the movie.
This is now the weirdest foursome in all of cinema.
I'm guessing there's probably... Yeah. It's going to be a thing. I mean, there's the bed right there, so go nuts, right? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Here we get the costumes. Yeah, there they are.
You know how sometimes there are like really subtle hints to things, and then there's just that?
I did see a bear there as well. I'm trying to think who that could be. I know that in the comics, Bane had a little cuddly bear that he loved in prison.
Impressive. You were able to kiss two people. Is she taller than him?
She's probably wearing like massive heels.
Yeah.
It's Black Friday. Is this the same year as Jingle All the Way?
Turbo Man. Let me have a look. I love this line now.
Do they really want to be fighting to get in there, or running the fuck away as fast as possible?
Literally, it's mauling Clone Wars.
So Jingle All the Way was the year before this. Oh,
Steady now.
you dastardly devil. So all the way through this movie, Arnold's just like, oh yeah, yeah. It's just really uncomfortable.
That's how water pipes work.
How does the wall break from that?
Details, Tate. More importantly, how do they survive this fall?
Dude, he survived a fall from higher earlier on in the film.
Yeah, he did.
Why can't you just build a little slide with ice? Can you picture the Tom Hardy Bane making that sound effect jumping down? Oh, it'd be the Darth Vader kick down the stairs, wouldn't it?
Ooh, yeah. I'm dying, you insensitive fuck. Oh wait, no, he's not meant to know at this point, is he?
It's a bit different from The Room. You know, it's the doctors have come back. It's definitely breast cancer. And then they never bring it back up again.
But don't worry, it's terminal. Do you think... Well, I mean, Michael Gough would have got the script for this thing. Do you think he only got the script for his own respective scenes, or do you think he got the whole thing? Did he realise the film that surrounded these scenes, or...?
Probably read the whole thing. I bet on paper it's probably all right.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say money probably was a factor.
I don't know, man. He probably just enjoyed playing Alfred. Like, what a great camera!
This set's just straight from the 60s. Look at this thing.
It's like Bounty Door.
Look at that! Look at
it! Very conspicuous.
No shit. This is where it... Oh my god. World's greatest detective, everyone. Thanks, Batman. Well, she's definitely evil. I think here's a she. That's the frozen dinners. What the fuck?
No, it's not. It's from H&M. It's a shop this way. Did no one else know she was in there? Wow.
So, yeah, did Batman just sort of... He didn't even use like a tracker thing, did he, to find a secret passage? He was just like, oh, it's that TV dinner. Hit the button. I don't know why they call it McGregor syndrome in this. It's not from the comic books or anything. They've pulled that out of nowhere. She is dying from some kind of disease, but I don't think it's named in the comic books.
It's like
I love that they're trying to whisper, but they're directly underneath the room, which is literally just some grates.
Oh, is this where we get our Bane fight?
Or is it a bit like The Lighthouse? She's going to look up, and then it's just going to be...
It's the vault below Disneyland. There's like a Walt Disney.
But he's entering through the exit. That's illegal.
Oh my god, it's the Tenet prologue.
My lungs are freezing, but somehow I still had enough lung capacity to say that line.
And cough.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Let's not stand on ceremony here. I think, like, once upon a time when I was trying to edit this to make it more of like a darker film like Tim Burton, I did try and add the Tom Hardy stuff. Like, you can't. You just...
I was born in the darkness, raised by...
Pretty bird. You say pretty bird?
Why doesn't she just kiss him and then kill him?
I know. Because everyone's running off the mechanic of I'll kill you next time. I think you and I are destined to do this forever kind of thing. Can you imagine if they'd have put the back break, though, in this scene? Just out of nowhere.
It's a Robin. They just actually kill him and leave him there. Is he on bags of rice?
It looks like confetti.
Ice cones.
Oh,
they're ice cream cones.
They're the ice cream cone sprinkles. They're sprinkles.
Oh yeah, hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
Yeah. I would literally just dive into that and just like.
What she says now, this was actually legit for the merchandising. Literally did. I love it. I love it.
You pitch like Gary Oldman's Gordon, like freezing to death.
I mean, he almost died in a tunnel, right? Oh no, he didn't actually.
He's basically just got to do a chirrut where he's just got to pull a lever. That's his character development over. Oh, we're all immediately fine.
Because of course they're going to run up to try and get Mr. Freeze.
Does he kick someone down the stairs now?
Yeah.
It just knocks them all down.
Strike.
GCPD right here.
Actually, considering recent events, are they truly the good guys? The Gotham City Police Department?
It's like Bane shouting in the background.
Just takes out the snowman. Oh shit!
So I know you're both into wrestling.
I used to be once upon a time. I kind
I've
of
not watched it for about 3 years.
If Bane walked into the ring,
Basically, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, or Big Show, maybe.
It's basically Vince McMahon would fall in love with him, even though he can't do anything. This always creeped me out when I was younger.
and that is how Joker was made.
Yeah, I was going to say, it always reminded me of the toxic waste that the Joker gets thrown into.
That would have been an interesting twist if he then became the Joker.
It would be like Return of the Joker animated movie where the Joker kidnaps Tim Drake and tortures him and turns him into another little Joker.
It's his mascara dripping off that I don't like.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like mint ice cream as well, which I can't stand.
Oh, I like mint ice cream. Mint chocolate. Mm.
Oh, shut up. You didn't do anything either, did you, Gordon? Jesus.
I was going to say, can you imagine Tayte and Jameson as like Commissioner Gordon and he realized they already did it and it was...
Yes.
It was that bad he came back to Marvel after. Hey, does that mean he'll be the Snyder Cut?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe
was he in the Justice League? Or was it Batman Superman he was in?
No, Justice League. Remember that picture when he was getting shredded for it and there was just no point?
Oh, yeah. They all thought they were going to get like a ripped... And it's like J.J. James does it every day anyway. It's like, what an absolute...
Isn't this Stacey Jax's room before going on to it?
She's actually dressed as Stacey Jax.
Got the hot tub as well.
Pour some sugar on me.
Where'd you get the sunglasses from?
Mm.
You lie. I mean, are those really hard to come by? Could she just bought one of those from
Like he deactivated your wife. Like that's really how you deliver it.
So she deactivated Nora, reached in.
That's the best CGI tier that and best acting that Arnold Schwarzenegger probably ever did.
And then it disappears into dust.
It's like, you crying, Commander Arnold? No,
guys,
okay, it's fine. We'll add it in first.
Even the tear couldn't escape the snap.
Did everyone see Mouse Hunt, the movie?
Yeah,
you know when they like hook up with those two Swedish chicks at the end, and they've got like the string, the ridiculous hair get up thing with like the balls of string. It kind of her hair kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
It looks like an older version of one of the things in Cat of the Hat. The like the kids.
That's not how it. Oh, yeah, this is true. These plants can survive in sub-zero temperatures, apparently.
They can't really run there, can they?
I forgot about that line.
That's when they cut his hand and he had to go to hospital.
He just carries on performing.
So, quick question: is she going to restart his heart by, dressing up in the sexy costume?
Which one? The one that the
one that's coming.
the one in the purple. I don't know. There's a lot of sexy costumes in this movie. You got the purple gorilla costume. You've got the chick who was with Freeze earlier in the movie, and like the clear plastic. Like
that would really keep her cold as well. That plastic.
So we keep forgetting as well. There was an Alfred Pennyworth in Joker as well, wasn't there? I forget the name of the actor. He was all right. He was. I could believe him as Alfred.
I just didn't like that scene. I get why it was there, and it was weird, but I did forget. I mean, you can't really say he's the worst Alfred. He did have one scene. There's been three other ones so far.
I didn't mind that scene. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was chilling how you just had like the Joker putting a smile on Bruce Wayne's face. I'm like, oh, that's good stuff right there. That's some good rivalry stuff going on there.
It's just like in 20 years we'll be fighting.
That's weird. Yeah,
I would love that to be a gun underneath the pillow, just like put me out of my misery.
This is a home video I made with your mother.
This is my hard drive. Please burn it. Sacred Trust, it's bondage gear.
Oh, God. Oh, that's where he got the costume from then. Didn't he need to make a new one?
It's literally just a spiked collar.
What, like the ones Bane's wearing throughout the entire movie?
Oh, yeah, super hot.
I've always hated that name, Gothamites. I know that's what they're called, but it just reminds me of like termites or something. Oh, how much more of this movie we got left?
It's a good question. About half an hour.
Oh, Jesus, okay.
What minute are you all up to? Mine just froze.
We are at 126.07, 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
When will we eventually get an Australian Bruce Wayne so we can probably do Bruce Wayne?
It just sounds cockney.
I mean, we've had a Welsh one.
Yeah.
I really want posh Robert Pattinson Tenet Batman now.
Maybe he is already, and we don't know.
It's like, there's a new villain in town, Batman. Okay, let's not be so dramatic. Like, crashing plane with no survivors.
Is she going to make someone OD on that at some stage?
What do you think it smells like? Like, what's it got a
I'm
whiff of?
guessing floral.
It's like house or something. Like
lavender, maybe.
Is that a euphemism?
Sorry, guys. Can we get another timestamp?
Yes, 127. Sorry, 128 now. 120.01, 28.02, 03, 04, 05, 06.
Perfect. Cheers.
Kalima.
Oh, look, it's the Dark Knight trailer from 2008.
Imagine if Bane actually did this in The Dark Knight Rises.
It probably could, to be fair.
You know what? I've got to hand it to Kiva Goldsman. It must be really tough to think of the sheer volume of puns that are in this movie.
Unless like he's been like planning a pun-related film for like years and years, and he's just been sitting on them all.
Password. I was going to say, I can't remember what the password is they use.
Imagine if password was password, lowercase. Like...
No, it's definitely Alfred 69.
See, this scene's really good. They're really good together in it. If this movie had been serious and it was more sort of like this tone, I think Clooney could have nailed it. I don't know if he could have nailed Batman, maybe, but this stuff as Bruce Wayne's really good.
I feel he was too big to be Bruce Wayne. I mean, that was Christian Bale's breakthrough. Not breakthrough, but he hadn't reached where he is now until Dark Knight pushed him to that level. Then Fighter, obviously, after Keaton had done Beetlejuice, but it was more, oh my god, why on earth is Michael Keaton playing Batman? Val Kilmer was a big-ish name, but...
Well, with Pattinson, it's like he had Twilight, and then he's been slowly kind of rebuilding his career afterwards, and he's been doing a very good job at it.
And that's the thing, we know that.
Solid foundation then, or Kilmer maybe.
The thing is, a lot of people don't know that Rob Pattinson has done stuff since Twilight. At least they're going to get Tenet as like, here's the big blockbuster film he's doing. So at least for the people that haven't seen the indie stuff, there's something he's done that you'll all have seen.
Yeah.
So I kind of have like the same, not same criticisms, but my favorite scenes in this are these, like objectively my favorite scenes are these scenes with Bruce Wayne and Alfred. It's the same for Dark Knight Rises as well. It's all the stuff with Michael Caine. I don't care much for the movie around it, but my God, Caine just nails every single scene.
It's the crying scene.
Yeah, I don't like to see Michael Caine cry in any film. It just, I don't know.
How many attempts does she get on the password here? That's the question.
It's like Jurassic Park.
It was the 90s. Computer hacking was like this, you know.
Didn't say the magic word. The
This has
worst.
to be the most unsecure password you've ever seen.
At least you got the capital letter in there.
It's like, fuck, I've been locked out for 45 minutes.
Just all the porn right now.
Like the whole world could have found out about Batman through the password peg.
Batman and Robin movie just starts playing. Oh, God.
Like, Batman was not aware that, not Michael Caine, that Alfred was going to allow a third person. He was already pissed off with one. Could you imagine if he'd have frozen the sun? That wouldn't have been too unbelievable for this film, would it?
No.
How the hell does Bane and him fit in that truck?
It's got to be a
It's like the interstellar love monologue.
God, he's just so whiny.
Mm.
Every line of dialogue is just like a slow, squealy fart, isn't it? It's just, Jesus.
He was like that in the last one.
Not as bad. He was a little bit, but not quite as bad. I'll allow him a bit of the
You were my
brain.
brother, Robin. He's going to chop his arms and legs off. And he's going to put him in like a giant frozen lake to freeze. These were the scenes I remember now.
It's these two. These two are really funny.
I was going to say, Chris O'Donnell hasn't actually been in much at all recently.
Vertical Limit is the only other movie that I knew that he made. I think this movie kind of killed it, to be honest. I think it was kind of like an Attack of the Clones thing for Hayden.
He was in Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore.
I think he's doing something else now. He doesn't do acting. I think he wanted to get out of it, to be honest.
No, he's doing NCIS.
Oh, okay.
He's been in it since 2009, so 11 years.
What? It's the Hans Zimmer sound effects.
And you know what? Again, another parallel. Tom Hardy basically holds Gotham ransom with a giant bomb. That was the most un-Nolan-ish thing about that movie. It's like we're actually doing we've got a huge bomb with a timer on it, and we're going to blow up Gotham. That is okay.
They got the switch in there that there was two vans, and it was in the decoy one. And
yeah,
but
this one's a decoy.
Can you picture Newt Gunray in a Christopher Nolan film?
I can.
It'd be like Inception, like he replaces Joseph Gordon-Levitt reading out all of the exposition. It's a dream within a dream.
No, he'd get Rick Ollie for the exposition.
$25 million he got paid for this.
I know. It's a disgusting amount of money.
But they were all liking them, weren't they? What I must have been the noughties when they started to drop down the. I think they started doing the multi contracts more so for big films, didn't they? Then, except
imagine Robert Downey laser beams and it just like cut her in half.
So how much did Robert Downey Jr. get paid for? Is it 50 million for Endgame and?
Well, he had a ridiculous percentage from the back end, didn't he?
Then, to be fair to him, it did make 2.8 billion. So, and he basically not created it. Without him, the MCU wouldn't have got to where it was.
It's like a Zoom call nowadays. He's got a virtual background and everything.
I love how this is meant to be like high tech and he's a billionaire and everything, yet he still has a video that goes like simulation.
Yeah.
Oh god, here we go.
Here we go.
Bat camel toe, the bat ass, but no bat nipples. Oh, I get a little bit. They're at half mast, I guess.
That's his niece.
Seriously, he's dying. She will walk into that room right now and he will be alive again.
Kind of really want to play the Arkham games now.
Yeah.
I've had them downloaded on my PS4 for like 6 months. I just haven't started them again.
This is
Sadly,
what it's like.
It is currently the Steam Summer Sale, and I've already spent on Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, nice. I still haven't played that yet.
Good.
And both Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2, because I played Infinite before, but hadn't played the previous ones.
Here we go. Uma Thurman has achieved full form of the look of drag queen. And she looks nothing like Poison. Like they nailed the costume all the way throughout the movie, and then for some reason, I don't know what this is.
Evolution, I guess.
It's like Dr. Frankenfurter right now. I don't know what's going on. She looks like remember Lily Savage, Paul O'Grady's Dragat? No, bit before your time.
I remember Paul O'Grady more for dog shows than drag act.
Well, he started off in like drag. His act was Lily Savage, and was on like loads of talk shows throughout the 90s, and like game shows and stuff.
I love that her plan is to have sex with Robin.
But if she kissed him anywhere else than the lips, could it have killed him?
Well, he's got a protective thing on, hasn't he? But as soon as he takes that off, she could have just snatched a quick kiss. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm wearing protection.
Kiss him again. Kiss him again. Or push him in the water. That works too. Oh, there's a really bad use of like reverse footage in a minute.
Oh, badass.
More badass.
It's like Harry Potter.
Devil snare. It's deadly fun, but we'll sulk in the sun. That's it. Cat fight. This is the unsexiest cat fight between Uma Thurman and Alicia Silverstone you could possibly film.
That's Indiana Jones. Well,
reverse footage. There we go. It's terrible. Multi-million-dollar movie.
R2D2 there with the little vine cutters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That just sounds like a bad euphemism.
Where was it, Alicia? Where was Batman filming that? Because Batman shows that video at the end to Mr. Freeze, and it's from that exact angle. Footage. It's the exact footage. What is that? Like a plastic dagger.
Why does it eat her?
She was
It's
sat
her
there,
own pack. Yeah.
She was sat inside it earlier and it opened up.
Well, that was that same footage again of him getting out of the water.
Yeah.
She's like, did you see her legs in the background, like flickering out? She's dying.
Oh wow, they actually don't know, do they? That it's her. I forgot about that. I forgot about. Love the main theme.
Imagine Bruce, it's me,
thing.
Alfred.
It's the whole glasses Superman thing.
It's fine.
Hold on, I'm just thinking. Hold on, he had that outfit like made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alfred, was he gonna wear it?
Oh god.
Bruce Wayne realizes that Alfred is one of his final wishes being here was to just sell a lot of Batman costumes to the public to join the crusade.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Look, he's playing like a video game. Remember, like the old Call of Duty, like was it COD 4 when you'd be in the sky in the rocket thing, and you'd be able to like switch lasers and just zoom in on the people. Didn't they freeze the dog?
Yes, yeah, they do. Yeah, it's Is it a bulldog or something? I think
so.
I think it's like pissing up a fire hydrant or something, isn't it?
So they have 11 minutes.
How would they get into the telephone? Oh, so cute.
That's gonna sting.
Oh, it's on the cop car doors. Like the I think it's when they thaw them out and the icicles are just wobbling.
Anyone eating Chinese in that restaurant right now?
It's a pretty powerful freeze gun to get through bricks and everything else there's ever been.
Convenient snowmobiles, all terrains in Gotham. I actually really, really like Batman's costume right now. They've all got like different sort of like silver costumes on.
They had enough time to get changed.
Yeah.
Oh, he forgot to freeze the clock.
Oh, look. It's exactly 11 minutes until it hits midnight.
Batgirl's helmet kind of looks a little bit weird. It's more like the classic look for her, but
I just don't like the fact that she's not got studded tires on right now. She's driving on ice with normal like slicks.
Oh god, it's like a Michael Bay movie. Look at the firework explosions.
Yeah, but we haven't seen an American flag yet.
You just got Sideswipe just skating down. Damn, I'm good.
How did the bike maintain?
Autopilot. If Nolan can use it in his movie, it can use it in this movie.
How did he miss Batman when he's right in front of him?
Why wouldn't that freeze the shield?
Shields, bitch.
Shield is a shield.
Oh, he died. He got covered in snow.
Well, it's not as bad as the Keaton ones, is it? Where he like full on turns the Batmobile around and like exhaust like sets someone on fire, blows up a whole factory of people.
These must be the LED batteries that almost killed him.
Yeah.
Oh, in his mouth. Yeah, shit.
It looks great, but it's mental.
But was it needed?
Yes, it looks so cool. Maybe not needed, but like they went with it, and I'll give them that.
That's a really, really long grapple range. Like, seriously.
Yeah, she just throws the mask off now. I swear she does.
Oh, the helmet, but keeps the eye bit on.
Yeah.
It changes
I really
everything.
like that batsuit. That batsuit looks really cool. Yeah, damn, he would have had to have like made all these gadgets, and Alfred couldn't have made them because he was dying.
Mm-hmm.
Is Lucius Fox off screen in these films? Like,
Do you think he just developed his own hand warmers, and then it just happened that there was a crazy villain that was freezing everyone, so he just started sharing the technology?
What is happening?
This is like the ultimate 90s science discussion sort of thing. Like,
But if we reverse the polarity of the Earth's axis, the sun will directly reflect, and yeah.
That's like using like a fucking hairblower to melt something, isn't it?
Can you just use that on Mr. Freeze? Just like point and aim?
Yeah, sure.
Is it like one of those really annoying laser pens that used to flash over like your neighbor's house over the road?
That's a great arm throw, you know. He like upwards and.
Oh no! It's like we don't have grapple guns.
It's
that close up on Batman there. What the hell was that?
Wait, hold on. That keyboard. Whoa. Did you guys see the keyboard?
No.
It was like C was directly next to A, but also on the top row.
Is there a different layout in a US keyboard?
No. I know that Europe is QWERTY, not QWERTY.
Cute.
I wonder whether they'll show the keyboard again, just so I can have another look at it, because that just looked wrong.
Boom. Does Batman even know they're on there, or is he just like trolling them at this point?
How did
they take him out in a believable way, though? It's not like, you know, Batgirl just like drives in on a motorbike and just one-shots him.
It would work, though, in theory.
This is where you've got to hit the reaction commands.
It's like pressing square, isn't it? And he catches it.
Oh, he fucked up on that one. Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you think that would be reinforced somehow, but okay.
It's like one of my favorite noises in Dark Knight Rises is when he gets that punch on Bane in the Scarecrow suit. He's like, whoa. Like it is the Darth Vader thing, isn't it? What's the Vader? It's like, wow. It's like,
yeah.
So, quick question: they've been holding on now for at least 2-3 minutes, right?
Great strength, yeah. The heat is on. That's where I'd like add that some 80s music in there. Dead. Straight up dead.
Yeah.
Back broken. Oh yeah.
It's like UW. It's like what?
Why it's taking so long? Batman's like, where's the UK?
The day.
Oh yeah, they want to melt the ice caps in that or something, don't they? Is that right?
So what we're saying is we can blame Batman for the current global warming crisis.
That's like every morning when like someone opens the curtains. Especially like recently with how like hot it's been. It's like 6.
God, that'd take fucking ages, wouldn't it? Jesus, you got to aim it at one building, wait till it's thawed, move it to another one. This is like the end of Predator, isn't it? Where he just hits the self-destruct.
Yeah.
I was laughing.
Where's he flying to?
Oh shit! Oh, they just leave him there. Okay, that seems legit.
It's like,
I love that. I don't care. That line followed with Batman jumping through the explosion. I'll give that line a free pass. Freeze in hell, Batman.
It's like the when Lily Bane's like, I don't have to save you. It's the whole like the train thing.
That's so un-Batman. Like, I'd love that film, and I love the Dark Knight.
It works for that bit. I think they can get away with it for that bit.
He's meant to always save them, and put them in Arkham.
Not this one though. He does come back, I guess, in theory.
He kills Two-Face. Just string him up and let the police arrest him.
I do love it's Harvey Dent's leg when they're landing, that's the shot of them on the floor. His legs like like the old like cartoons when they're the wrong way around.
It's a weird thing with this movie, like it's a multi-million-dollar movie, and some effects in it are really good, and then some just look terrible.
That looked really Thunderbirdsy, not gonna lie.
Where are they going to get saved? They've just literally left them on like a frozen rock.
Yeah.
Aha, suckers, you're on your own now.
Now he must be shredded to be able to do this. Yes, because she'll guess the magic word, Pam.
I find that very sexist in 2020 sensibilities. Thank you very much.
How does she flip the screen around?
Again, another very sexist statement there, which I do not agree with. If the shoe fits one way. Excuse me, Liam, how do you find that
I'm sorry, but how exactly does she know the exact coordinates of Ghana, which they said earlier in the film would be used to thaw out?
Did she travel there earlier? I can't remember. She was returning from somewhere. I can't remember where from. I might be wrong.
I mean, the sun would have melted all of this anyway.
She was in at school in England, so I don't know. Wouldn't they have like massive internal damage from?
Yeah,
they'd be dead.
Oh, so shaky.
Yeah, look at the icicles. I love it.
It'd be like Hansel and Carmen, like the hyper sickness. They come out blind.
I mean, the dog didn't even finish peeing. That's all I'm saying.
Then it goes like away, and people. It's like the horrific vision that Linda Hamilton has in T2.
It's the Harvey Dent thing from the end of The Dark Knight. Have you seen the Michael Jordan documentary? That's what his eyes look like in episode 10. Literally, mate, out of nowhere, he's got yellow eyes in like loads of the episodes.
It's the exact
well directed. Gets a free pass for life, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't care.
Have you seen one of his videos of his goats in his house during lockdown?
No.
He just keeps editing videos of like he's Mint, isn't he? So he's in his mansion, but he's got his 2 pet goats that like he walk around the house with him, and like he's trying to eat his dinner, and they're trying to eat it with him and stuff, and he's like feeding them. But he's like talking to them, having a conversation. It's amazing because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger talking to 2 goats.
So this is the kind of Batman I like the kind of compassionate one who's not just going to leave him there to die. He tries to rehabilitate everyone. He's unwavering in that. Like, I love that shit.
I think he would have took Liam Neeson in if he hadn't have, been on a monorail about to die. He saved the Joker who did worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Superman thing with me. Like when he snaps his arm, I'm like, he always finds a way. Always finds a way to not kill anyone. That's like imperative.
Like the Man of Steel one, he had to kill him.
There's loads
he did have to kill him.
He could have flew him into space. He could have just flown upwards.
Yeah, but he might have to send him back in the weird dildo spacecraft things.
Well, yeah, like put him back in the Phantom Zone. Done.
Did they explain how he got out of the Phantom Zone? I can't actually remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's when
A beacon goes off or
the
something.
Kent farm, I think, when they put the thing in the thing and that activates it. It activated some kind of beacon or something or other. I don't know.
So this mass murderer who's going to wipe out an entire city is going to be able to carry on doing his job in prison.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like the Nazis showing up at NASA at the end of World War II.
He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life, but at least he'll get a cure for his wife. I don't know. I like that. Batman's cool like that.
Whereas the reality of the American police is like, we'll just, he's on the ground. He's not a threat. Let's shoot him.
I love that little look into the camera then.
I love how Bruce has changed, she's changed, but Robin's still in his Robin outfit.
Just like, absolutely, he's using that to pull. He's out on the lash that night.
Okay, this scene's great. And A Game of Thrones, the book, came out a year before this. But this, to me, made the winter is coming line cool. I don't mind Freeze's puns in this scene. I think they're completely earned. Would she eat plants? Is that...
Sorry, Game of Thrones came out a year before this.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if it hadn't, and it come out a year after, and everyone could have said that?
Yeah, they had a party that night. Like, I mean, you've got the pizza on the table, you got like drinks there. It's like,
I always hate seeing pizza go to waste, and there are two perfectly good slices of margarita pizza right there.
That's definitely like a pimp jacket.
Like, oh god, what's his name?
I'd love if
Hugh
they had.
Hefner,
Imagine Hugh Hefner being cast before he died as Alfred.
See, that if he was making leather outfits for people, that would make sense for me in that regard. But
that's a lingering look at her. Do you think Bruce was ready to sack Robin now he's got like Batgirl?
Oh yeah.
I'm sick and fed up of your shit, boy.
Two's company, three's a crowd. Take a hike, Robin. You go be Nightwing in Bloodhaven. Like, that's how you write him out.
It is. Oh no, she's already been imprisoned. Imagine a deleted scene where it was like the police getting her out of the Venus flytrap.
On to Batman Unchained, which is never going to get made. It's that curiosity, though. I would have loved to have seen what they would have done with Scarecrow.
More Burton than Schumacher, I think. I don't think I could have imagined the Joel Schumacher Scarecrow.
Boom, there we go.
The coolest shot in the film is the final shot.
And we've got the 90th thing ever now with Smashing Pumpkins, which a version of it was used in the Watchmen trailer.
I remember musing Watchmen more than anything.
Oh, this is so 90s. It's that really like nasally, grungy vocal, isn't it?
It sounds like Mr. Chow.
Oh no, Coolio's credited as banker. I don't know what was going on with the article that I read then about Coolio being Scarecrow.
He's wearing like tattered robes though. So guys,
it's got Coolio was courted to play Scarecrow in the Scrap Batman movie, so I guess it was meant to be. It would have turned out he would have been. Right. Well,
rank 10 Batman films.
The 10,
including Justice League.
So we're talking these 4, the 3 Nolan ones,
2
BBS,
Batman, and
60s.
Rank the 10.
We're not counting like the animated ones or anything. Just the 10 live action.
Yeah, do live actions in a minute. I've not seen Mask of the Phantasm, so.
Oh my god! Okay, right.
Or just do a top 3.
Top 3 would be easier.
Not counting the animated one, I would go. Oh, nostalgia's kicking in though. Do I go objectively better or my favorite to watch?
At number 3, I'd go 89. At number 2, Dark Knight. Number 1, Batman Begins.
I'd probably go, and this is nostalgia kicking in, I'd go 89 at the top, Batman Returns, and then Batman Begins.
I've got Night, then Begins. Then, will you rank on your favorite or a quality or both?
I threw a mix.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's really tough. You have to like rate them up.
My third is split between 3. I have both 66, 89, and Rises. Because you've got like my favorite of the 3, the one I grew up with a lot and had a lot of fun with and still think it's amazing. Then you've got the one that I enjoyed a lot more as I was older but haven't seen it as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a weird blend, but like 1 and 2 is distinctly, for me, like ahead of the rest.
I think we can all agree our bottom 2 would be Justice League at the far bottom and then BVS right above that, right?
Yeah, easily. That's so 90s.
I know. Is it like Mentor Boys or something? Like, who is this?
I wonder how long the credits are.
Long.
1 minute 46.
1 minute left.
It's like it's better than Rock of Ages. I'll give it that for the not in the clock. So, Tat, I'm curious, what was your thoughts on this? Did you've only seen it once before?
This I actually quite enjoyed. Rewatching again. Like, it is one of those films where you just turn off your brain, you just laugh at it, you can't really take it too seriously. There are some films which I watch and I don't like because it tries to take itself seriously. This film absolutely doesn't. From the start all the way through, you can absolutely tell no one's trying too hard on this film. It is just as it is.
I think they're trying very hard. I think the opposite. I think they're trying very hard to be as hammy as possible. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, if you go in with that pretense, knowing that this is going to be a kind of a modern-ish 60s equivalent, that's completely ridiculous. Like, puns left, right, and center, really hammy performances. I don't get where the hate comes from. Did people go into this expecting it to be like a serious Batman movie, or?
I think people are expecting it to be the same quality as the previous films, maybe.
I haven't seen trailers for this thing, so I don't know if it was marketed differently and gave people a false sense of what it was going to be, or...
I think there would have been a generation of people that grew up with 89. Certainly comic book readers, although there were a lot fewer back then than there are now. Had the 80s where Batman got dark, became different, then Batman 89, Batman Returns, and Forever was probably like a bit of a knock on their head, like, okay, we didn't really expect this, and they probably didn't expect that side of it to be dialed up to 100 for this one.
Yeah.
I can see where the rage comes. If it's a select age group, like with the prequel generation, so we're pretty chill on the prequels, but I get why the older people are like that with that. I can imagine it being a very similar, although it's only 8 years difference between the first and the fourth. It's that same kind of vein. Like, this isn't the Batman that we know and have grown up or grew to love, maybe. Because 89, people forget that was when that was released. That was one of the biggest films ever in history.
Yeah,
that was everywhere. That had records, box office records. That was like, I think it was probably second or third in highest grossing of all time. At that point, I'd need to double check that, but that was.
It was incredibly popular. But yeah, no, this film is just like
was the second highest grossing of the year.
Yeah. What was number one for that year?
Hang on, let me just have a look. So worldwide gross, it was second. Domestic to US, Canada, it was number one. Number one was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, there you go. So that makes sense. But I think maybe people were expecting it to be a little bit more grounded. Maybe they thought from the feedback given about Forever, they were expecting it to be like a little bit of kind of a more grounded film. Who knows? Honestly, who knows? We can't put ourselves in the shoes of the people who watched it originally when it came out, so we won't be able to have that kind of opinion. But as far as kind of its stay, I mean, people remember the film. There are a lot of films out there, comic book films as well, that people just completely forget and are completely forgettable, whether it's a good reason or a bad reason. This is a classic. It's a cult classic. And there will always be an audience that goes and sees it. So...
yeah, and I think for what it is, sort of bringing it back to the whole Joel Schumacher thing. Like he publicly apologized for making this movie. I don't think he should have done. Like I think a lot of people were like berating it too much. Like he shouldn't have had to have apologized for making this movie. I think a lot of this was to do with studio. I think you can kind of say, add this in because we need that toy, or add this music star in because he's popular at the moment, or have these people. There's a lot of behind, especially with Warner Brothers being what they are, and we've seen that even more so in the last decade or more with what they've been doing with stuff.
And Warner Brothers themselves, if people don't know at home, look at the failed Batman films that they had in development between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins. It wasn't, the sequel to Batman and Robin was cancelled. No, there was the Batman Superman one as well. There was it Man-Bat? Was it Aronofsky pitched that, or someone like that? There was a ridiculous thing, and there was a lot of different projects, a lot of directors. They were just desperate to get a Batman film out because, Warner Brothers, I would say it now, a different conversation, but they're very lucky they got Christopher Nolan because they had 7 years where they didn't have to worry about the license of Batman. That's post 2012, especially adding Avengers coming out the same 3 months as Dark Knight Rises. That shifted cinema, and then it became the most reactionary they've ever been. Was we're going to start a cinematic universe in the film that's been designed to be a single film, which was obviously Man of Steel, and then not even getting into the politics of it too much, but you give creative control of your cinematic universe to a director when actually it should be a producer, not a director. Anyway, completely different conversation. But Warner Brothers have a track record across many decades, and the 8-year gap from 89 to 97, I think Batman Returns is very different to Batman 89. I know it's the same director, it's the same vibes, but even as a same director, there's a big momentum shift in a nice way that it goes to, okay, Tim Burton, you've got a bit more control on this one. But then Warner Brothers then saying, oh no, we gave you too much control. That sort of thing. Batman Forever, do this, and then you get to Batman and Robin. It's like, okay, now you've got the toy stuff, which we know about, but it still came out like this, and I love it. I adore it. At the end of the day, it's like the prequels conversation. It was all, yes, they made it to sell toys, but also it was made for kids, not adults. And I am quite happy. I agree. I could not have imagined going to the cinema to watch this film, like in like not 2020, but at the age I am now, of the characters I've grown up with, the iterations of Batman has been, and if I'd have been at this age watching that, it'd have been a completely different experience. I probably would have enjoyed it. I love Fast and Furious. I like films like that. But it's more getting into it. Is like, okay, that's a big momentum shift.
I think it ultimately depends what you want from Batman. Like, as I said, like I can be fast and loose with Batman. Like I love the grittier, really thought-provoking, dark stuff, really warped stuff that you can do with Batman. And then I can happily watch the old 60s TV show and the 60s movie. I can happily watch this, or Lego Batman, or whatever it happens to be. There's loads of different things you can do with the Batman property, and I'm fine with it all. But then again, I know some people aren't. Some people, I know one of my best mates hates campy Batman. He hates the 60s Batman. He can't stand it. He sees it as like a stain on the Batman legacy, that Batman used to be like that. So it's just different strokes for different folks ultimately. But I think we've pretty much said everything we can. And I think that everyone on the internet has pretty much said everything they can on Batman and Robin at this point. yeah, I just think that we wanted an easy film to watch today. We wanted a Joel Schumacher movie. Yes, we are doing comic books next week, but we did want to do something on the channel to respect Joel Schumacher. And this is one of his most famous movies, infamous or famous movies, whatever you want to say about it. I had a lot of fun with this tonight. This was kind of just hits the right spot, doesn't it? Like, in that, you know, you just want something fun and uplifting. So that'll do it for our watch along tonight. Tune in on actually there is a very fun announcement on the channel tomorrow. Look out for that video. It will premiere. Just watch this space, hit the subscribe while we're at it right now. I'm going to bring these up because this is very important for tomorrow. Just follow all of those for reasons that you will see tomorrow. And also next week on Thursday we'll be back with our... Are we going to continue the quizzes after this one, or are we going to take a break? Have we decided?
I say we'll make a statement at the end of the quiz next week. We've got something in the pipeline for the week after, but as far as I'm concerned, I'd say it's fair to say the genre quizzes next week is the final one.
Yeah, there's going to be a shift with the quizzes. We're
adapting to the film, the world of cinema, because they've delayed it all again.
Yes, we've got the schedule down. We had it all planned, and then overnight, we've got to fill a whole other month's worth of content. We're going to do it. It's going to be fine, and we'll get through it. But yes, next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. UK time, comic book movie quiz. That's going to be all encompassing. That's going to be a really, really fun one to do. So really looking forward to that, and some other fun, exciting stuff happening on the channel too. That'll do it for us right now for tonight. But follow us on all of those things, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.